Is it possible to go from £0 a month to almost £2,000 a month, having a waiting list of at least 2 months in less than a year? Yes, it is possible. I did that, and so can you with my help. Now, I'm going to tell you my story of how I started teaching online. However, my story might not be your story, and you're going to see why. Why and why you'd need my help. My husband and I moved to the UK in December 2017. We had a 1-year-old girl, and we struggled a bit. I started teaching online in January 2018. But I didn't actually want to be an online teacher. I just wanted to have a job like everyone else, to have that monthly income coming in, and that's about it. However, I was a bit overconfident in my skills and my knowledge, and a major problem that I had was that in the little town where we live, there is only one language school. And they didn't want to hire me because they consider me a bit of a competition. And I can say that because I actually have an email to prove it. Now, because I wasn't able to find a teaching English as a foreign language position, I started applying for admin positions. Why? Well, that's where the story changes. Before I actually started teaching online in 2017, I had been a business owner and an EFL teacher for about 8 years back in my country. I majored in French and English as a translator and interpreter, actually, for both French and English. And when I went to do my master's degree and I started working for a multinational French company and the European Union, I realized that was not what I wanted, because I didn't really liked translating and proofreading. I found them very boring. So sorry, translators and interpreters, but I really found them boring. I decided to do a trainer of trainers, and learn how to teach adults. And that's how my journey teaching EFL started. Now, during university, I had worked with high school pupils who had to pass certain language exams, but I just did that for some extra money. But I never took it seriously. I never wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to either work for the European Union as a translator or become Romania's prime minister. And it seems none of these dreams have happened. I was also lucky because my dad was a business owner. He actually had 2 businesses, and he helped me open my first language school. So you might say at this moment, where we can't relate to that, you had the knowledge of English, you had a bit of experience, you had a course which taught you how to teach adults, and you also had your dad who backed you up and opened your own business. So you can't really help me. Well, I actually can, because what my dad did was to find me a place to bring me desks and chairs, and then he said, "You're on your own." So I had to find my own students, and I also had to learn how to teach and find materials, because, as I was saying earlier, I didn't actually have too much experience teaching. I never prepared for teaching, and my trainer of trainers course was actually to help me learn how to teach adults, because I knew I didn't actually have the patience to teach kids, not in state schools at least. And I didn't actually have that formal training on how to teach English as a foreign language. The first time I started teaching, I had a group of students in medicine. Now, my context was quite good, I could say, at that moment in 2009, because we were after the recession and people just wanted to emigrate. So nurses, doctors, engineers, loads of those people wanted to go abroad and leave the country. So they needed to learn English French, German, and I quickly hired people to help me with languages I couldn't teach, but I had to learn to teach English and French by myself. So, the first time I taught English, I actually used a course which my secretary won via email. It was a beginner's course, and we started with to be, I am, you are, and so on. It was quite funny. I knew from school that I liked the phonetic transcription, and I also taught a lot the phonetic transcription, and my poor students read a lot from the dictionary. And well, it was just trial and error. Like, I saw that something was working, something was not working. Besides the fact that I got to immediately start working with groups, which really frightened me, I was also able to have one-to-one sessions. And I would strongly recommend you, if you're just starting out, to start teaching one-to-one, because that's how you're going to gain experience. That's how you're going to learn what your students' expectations are and what their most common questions are. And I always tell the teachers I work with, you only need to teach something once or twice, and then you can consider it mastered. Of course, that is if you've learned from your mistakes and you're going to improve for the next time you teach. So in Romania in 2009, there was no library with books in my town, no bookshop. So there weren't many books that I could use. So I started looking online. I found some resources like many of you normally find online. And I just started adapting. Now, I actually went on and did my CELTA in 2014. So 5 years after I started teaching, and I had pass A because I already knew what I was doing. I just needed that international qualification. And I did my CELTA in Dublin with Kaplan, and then I worked with them in 2014 and 2015. But what I learned during those first years was how to organize my classes, how to assess a student's level, how to prepare materials, how to adapt to different learning styles and to different situations and expectations. So I learned a lot on my own. Over the years, I also had some students I taught online via Skype. But again, that's just because some of them were former students who had now moved to other countries and maybe wanted their family members to learn the language, or maybe they wanted to work on a specific language, like medical language or technical language. So I did a bit of that. But again, I had not a lot of experience teaching online. So in 2017, in December, we landed in the UK. And in January, I started teaching. How did I just start teaching? Well, I did something that many people don't do. Now, I look at teachers groups and I see a lot of teachers posting there, I'm available to teach. And yes, there might be recruiters, there might be agencies, there might be schools looking for teachers, but that's not where your ideal client is. So being a mom, what I did was I went to the first mums in the UK group, Romanian mums in the UK, of course, because it was easier for me back then. And I just said, I'm a mom. I just moved to the UK. I have this and this qualification. I've been teaching for more than 8 years now, and I'm just looking to give classes online. And it's very interesting that, again, I was able to form a mini group. I had 3 students in my first group. And I also had a one-to-one. Now, I only started with these 4 people. Now, my one-to-one student stopped classes after about 2 months because, well, life got in the way. But she recommended someone. She actually recommended her sister. I think it was back then. So one person recommended the other. Then when mums used to ask questions in the groups, I'm looking for someone to teach me English, I actually commented on their posts, yes, I could help you. And then my students actually said, yes, I recommend her. So it was really, really helpful having the people I was working with saying, yes, this person actually knows what she's doing and you can trust her. So my first 4 students brought in other students and other students and other students. Now, as I was saying earlier, my story might not be your story for many reasons. And I was able to have those 4 students bring in more students because I was good at teaching. Now, it makes my blood boil when I see people wanting to get their TEFL certifications, qualifications, but they are not able to write properly. They don't actually master the language. In many instances, people tell me, oh, you speak good English. And I was like, what? I teach English. Okay, I'm not a native person, but I have to do my best to live up to some expectations, because if I want to help you pass an advanced level of language exam, how am I going to do that if my level of language is lower than what you need? So let's go back to quality. The thing that's going to help you succeed, no matter if you have 1 student or 5 students, is going to be quality. Focus on knowing what the hell you're doing. Now, I know this might be a bit too strong for some people, and you're not my people if you got scared and you're running away right now. But if you are here and you're thinking, yeah, I actually should do that. I'm maybe not 100% sure of how I should teach grammar or vocabulary or advanced levels or beginners or where to get materials, or I don't understand the Common European Framework of Languages, or I don't know, whatever you don't know. You have to go and learn those things. You need to be good at teaching if you want to make it. So the programs that I designed for teachers, English language teachers, of course, and also French teachers, I can now help with German and so on and so forth, because at my language school, I had teachers teaching loads of things and I had to help them. Most of them didn't have teaching skills. They knew the language, but they had to learn to teach it somehow. And because I had already been through that for both English and French, it was easy for me to help them. So I'm able to help with almost any modern foreign language. What I do with my teachers is, first, we assess your needs in terms of what you are able to teach. And then we assess your teaching skills. And then we also look at your business skills, because you need all of those things. You need to know the language if you're a non-native teacher. You need to know teaching skills if you're a native or a non-native teacher, and you also need those business skills, because you don't want to be stuck at 5 students or 10 students. You want to get more students. You want to get a better income. You want to get a better life. You want to have that freedom that everyone wants, and you also want to spend more time with your family and friends and enjoy life. So all those things can be done if you're good. If you're good at teaching, and if you're a non-native teacher in this case, because, well, of course, native teachers know the language, but if you have a good level of language, a level of language that would help your students learn, develop, pass exams, pass interviews, and so on and so forth. So, what do you have to do? Let's just summarize, because there's been quite a lot of information. What do you have to do today if you want to make it in online teaching as a freelancer, solopreneur, or small business? Number 1, if you're a non-native teacher, learn English. And this might upset some people. I don't care. Go and learn English, because if you want to teach English, you need to know it. 2, if you're native or non-native, develop your teaching skills. And when I say teaching skills, focus on how to teach grammar, how to teach vocabulary, listening, reading, writing, speaking, where to find materials, understanding levels of language, assessing students, and so on and so forth. And then you are ready to scale your business. You can start a business not having those skills properly in place, but you can't scale it, you can't grow it. So, language, teaching skills, business skills, and that's how you're going to make it. And if you want to work one-to-one with me, or if you want to join my free challenge coming up on the 3rd of July 2023, where I'm going to give you a simple framework to find your niche and your perfect course and offer it online so you can become an expert at something, then there's a link somewhere on this page to the 5-day challenge. Click it and just join. Hope to see you there. Bye.